Our atmosphere is the holding ground for all unnecessary junk that flies towards the earth and reducing the ultraviolet light from the sun. It's the barrier that basically protects us from floating away or having rocks fly through the sky and penetrate our surface. Our once whole atmosphere has been depleted over the previous years, and now we are beginning to see the consequences. This man-made issue was driven by the Industrial Revolution, which filled up the sky and air with toxic gas. We must stop pollution in order to secure the remaining amount of atmosphere and continue living freely without worry of ultraviolet rays hitting our skin. Pollution happens every single day, whether it's you hopping in your vehicle or smoking a cigarette. The pollution from your car may not seem like a whole lot, but with all the cars that are being used every day, it eventually adds up to a heaping amount of gas. Other issues come from gas plants and manufacturers because they are constantly blowing dark smog into the air without care for what could possibly become. Just recently this year, a factory blew up in Texas, causing over 500,000 pounds of material to burn up and be released into our atmosphere. 500,000 pounds of anything going into the air would be devastating, but for it to be rubber, it makes the story that much worse. The incident is not so frequent, happening about 1 to 2 times every couple of years, but not as large scale as this situation. Our ozone sits about 15 miles above us, being only about 3 millimeters thick. It is decreasing in size because our constant polluting waves have ripped a hole in it, allowing ultraviolet rays to come through. These rays, in fact, are cancer-causing and very dangerous to the skin upon contact. Cancer is a serious disease that has no name for who it is picking, so without this protection from the sun, we are all vulnerable to develop such a problem. Not only humans are affected by our own wrongdoings, but animals as well. In fact, researchers have studied animals and found that their own breeding and eating ways have been altered due to the increase in ultraviolet rays hitting the Earth's surface. In turn, the effects of these animals result in our own eating capabilities and limits us to be only able to eat certain foods because of extinction. The real killers that affect even more than smoke pollution is the use of spray aerosol products, or CFCs, which have been disbanded due to their terrible effects. Aerosol products have actually been proven to be a big part of the issue. Aerosol mixes with the oxygen in the atmosphere, which in turn rips apart our ozone. It helps to let the ultraviolet rays through, which I mentioned before, cause cancer. It is the chlorine inside these aerosol products that does all the breaking down. Although CFCs have been banned from the use in 1996 because of their chlorine content, it is assumed that another 50 years is needed in order to be mostly cleared of the pollution. The amount of pollution we put in our air before has actually depleted the ozone by 65%. This is where the term ozone hole originates from. The most responsible for this situation is the United States and Europe. They have the highest contribution towards allowing pollution gases into our ozone. Regardless of how well we treat our atmosphere, we still continue to deplete it by polluting the air with our toxic gases. Although the United States and Europe are the ones who mainly contribute to the depletion of the ozone, it seems that Australia and Antarctica are really seeing the results of devastation. Australia is described having lost 5 to 9% of the thickness that makes up the ozone. In Antarctica, however, the depletion is much higher, especially during springtime. The largest ozone hole usually sprouts between September and November in Antarctica. The main cause of our depletion of the ozone are commonly man-made by CFCs, resulting in about 80% of total pollution that has been released. On another note, instances where a massive volcano goes off, the smoke that leaves the volcano results in pollution hitting the ozone. This makes up only 1 to 2% of what has been done to the atmosphere already. We can reduce the amount of pollution we are contributing by reducing the amount of cars that are on the road. In fact, if we carpooled or rode buses to work, school, we would reduce the amount of daily pollution by as much as 50%. On our local farms that fills up grocery stores, we use pesticides. Believe it or not, but these pesticides actually contribute to the breakdown of the ozone a lot. Considering most farms nowadays use pesticides, it is easily seen why they have a huge contribution to our pollution issues. In the household, it is easy to contribute by simply changing the products you use to more eco-friendly choices. Even light bulbs can contribute if they are broken and the gas is emitted into the air. If the world does not help contribute to reduce the pollution, then we will be doomed by the ultraviolet rays that are released from the sun. Many steps are necessary for us to make change, but with the right use of products and eliminating harmful gases, we will eventually restore our ozone to its full potential. The atmosphere is to not be taken lightly, as it controls what comes in and out. Hopefully in the future we can come together to reduce greenhouse gases and other disturbances in the air.